So I'm scrolling on Instagram and I come across a post from Hollywood Unlocked. And the post is from Safari saying that people should stay in relationships. Marriage is just a contract. And I always laugh when I hear people talk like this because I know people personally who have been married and they say they will never get married again. Or I have friends that said they will never ever get married based on them knowing other friends who have been in marriages that were terrible. And it's sad. It's sad that people think like this because the reality is, and this is my perspective, but the reality is a lot of people go into relationships wearing a mask. A lot of people go into relationships not even knowing who they are, right? Because a lot of us have been through some things in our lives. A lot of us have been surrounded by people who were very negative and toxic and unhealthy, and we learned to normalize that behavior. We learned to normalize that behavior, and then we started behaving that way, right? And so when you enter into a relationship not being authentic, when you enter into a relationship with unhealthy behavior, what do you think is going to happen? So a lot of people go into relationships not even knowing themselves. And then when it doesn't work out, instead of them really taking time to sit back and reflect and do some introspection, rather than do that, they want to blame the other person instead. But at some point in your life, you have to see a pattern. At some point in your life, you have to figure out, why did I think it was healthy to enter into a relationship with this person, right? Because at the end of the day, you can only blame people but for so long. But when you really think about it, we make the decisions in our life. We decide what we're going to do, if we're going to go left, if we're going to go right, if we're going to entertain this person, if we're going to continue to stay in a relationship with someone where we're constantly seeing red flags. You make that decision, not the other person. So once you can start taking accountability for your role in these relationships and what you brought to the table, then maybe you can get a better understanding of why these relationships aren't working out for you and why you can't meet the right person. A person that respects you and loves you unconditionally. A person that's not going to judge you. A person that can communicate effectively. A person that wants to grow with you. A person that's supportive. All these amazing qualities, we should have them within ourselves, but a lot of times we're lacking in those areas, and then we expect to meet someone that has them. How? Like attracts like. So if you're trying to find someone that is going to be healthy for you, then you yourself have to be healthy. And I had to get to that realization. I realized that I had some people-pleasing tendencies. I realized that I got real jealous and, I always had kept my guard up, and sometimes I wouldn't allow myself to be open and vulnerable because of things I experienced in my past. But I realized that I had to change that because I knew I wanted healthy relationships. I knew I wanted that unconditional love, and I knew I was tired of being hurt. But the reality was I needed to change. I needed to heal. And now my mindset is completely different. So I could see people and I could see them on their BS and I can notice the red flags. And I know and I respect myself now enough to not engage with someone who's going to waste my time, waste my energy, and make me feel like crap. So I don't believe in this marriage is BS and marriage is a contract and this and that. No, people get into relationships with the wrong people. And that's just that. And until you heal and until you find yourself and until you can start living in your truth, you're constantly going to connect yourself with the wrong types of individuals because you just don't know better. And we have to value and respect ourselves enough to not allow people to waste our time and energy. So I hope this message helps. Stay blessed.